I'm Colin Atkinson from CA Management. I've actually organised the whole day today, but what I am is one of the few chartered accountants in WA who's actually got a degree in IT and has been recognised by the Institute of Chartered Accountants as one of their specialists. I've been running CA Management since 1986, and that's just an achievement to actually stay in the IT industry for 25 years and keep going. No doubt we're like every other business, we've made our blues. The fact that we've been able to come back from the blues and keep the clients happy for 25 years is just a testament on how good the team have been through the whole time. What we're going to do today is try and go in and have a look at where the accountancy market's going, what's been happening, and hopefully today will be better. I've had a little bit of an exciting morning. I've had the blue screen of death on my computer about 5 times, so having something bright on the screen is very good for me now. So the first thing I was going to ask the question, has MYOB and QuickBooks had their day in the sun? Because we're all hearing about the cloud and everything's moving to the cloud. And I thought I'd just talk about the 2 most popular products. And I assume most of you guys have got this in your business already. So let's just go back and to do this, start having a look at a bit of the history. And you didn't think you'd come today and get a history lesson, but that's the way it is. Back in the 90s, Attache and Cybers were the 2 dominant players in the market. Everyone seemed to buy those. That was where people started. And what they found, they started off with very simple systems. You really found when we used to put a debtor system in, we'd put debtors in, or we'd put stock, we'd put creditors, or we'd put payroll, and that would be it. But as time went on, technology got better, and the clients wanted more features. So they kept putting more features in. So suddenly you could have order entry, sales, purchasing, and all of these modules linking together. It was interesting to see, because as they grew, the products got harder, and they went up a market. And lo and behold, MYOB and QuickBooks came underneath them with something that was simpler again. Didn't have as many features. It helped that GST had just kick-started, and everyone had to get into it. So everyone got into MYOB and QuickBooks, and everyone wanted a simple system. If we look back to what MYOB and QuickBooks were in the early 2000s, compared to what they are now, they were a lot simpler. Because what did clients want? They wanted more features. So what we've seen is MYOB go from MYOB Simple to MYOB Premier to MYOB Enterprise. They're whacking more and more features in there. The clients that are buying them are going, oh, these are getting a bit harder, getting a bit more difficult to deal with, because there's more bits in there. And even as we find swapping systems off MYOB and QuickBooks, the complexity of changing is a lot harder because there's more and more in there. So what have we now got? We've got the cloud come in. 2 products really, Xero and Sasu, have come into the market. What they've done is brought in a really simple system again. So suddenly, MYOB and QuickBooks are too hard. Xero and Sasu are nice and easy to use. The fact that they're running on the cloud is an irrelevancy. Seems funny to say that, because if we talk about cloud, what is it? It's a big mainframe computer, back in the days of the green screen. But we're just doing it over the net. But the technology is the same thing. We're now going back to having centralised servers that's running everyone's systems. So when people stop and think about that, it's not as sophisticated. The world, like all businesses, the same ideas get reinvented, but technology's just taken it a bit further. The challenge that everyone's got are all the products are now feature-rich. People, as you buy a new product with MYOB and QuickBooks, there's more to learn and there's more to go wrong. So suddenly you find people making mistakes, and every existing client wants their system to go further and further and further and do more for less. Because everyone who's bought MYOB and QuickBooks for $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 has got a phenomenal buy. There's no doubt about it. So therefore they think this should be the way it goes forward. I should be able to do more and more. But the new clients who come in have just started a business, and if we all look back to mostly when you first started, your business was really simple. You didn't want complex, so you wanted something to start with. If we just talk about where MYOB and QuickBooks have done and what their challenge has been and where they've got to address, it's been interesting. MYOB's had a bit of a checkered past in the last 3 to 4 years. They got taken over by a company called Manhattan Software and Archer Capital. At that stage, they actually threw the MD out, who's now thrown a heap of money behind Xero. About 35 million, I think, he put in. In the last 8 months, Myob's been taken over again by another venture capitalist called Bain Group. So it's quite interesting seeing that. If any of you have been involved in a takeover, normally the first 6 months nothing happens. It's between month 9 and month 12 all the changes start kicking in. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Bain taking over and where they're going to get their money out. Because rest assured, they didn't pay, I think they paid over $1 billion, so they'll be wanting to get a return somewhere. And I expect that's going to come out of the clients. If we have a look at what Myob's response has been to the attack from Xero and cloud, and really, if we look at it and go, Xero is their biggest attack because of the fact the MD's gone there and taken direct staff. The first thing they did was take Myob Exo, which is their bigger product, direct to the market and try and remove the dealers. This failed. They've now gone back and actually changed their target market, and they've moved the product up and repriced it for higher clients. So they're not trying to do the mid-range, they're trying to do the upper mid-range. They brought out a Myob SQL version. Well, I say brought it out. They've brought it out twice so far, and twice they've withdrawn it. It's meant to come again November this year. What's quite powerful with this, though, is it's hosted by a thing called Microsoft Azure, and what Microsoft Azure is the cloud. So with your Myob, you will be able to actually run it in your office, but hit a button and it will copy up onto the web, and you'll be able to run it over the web. The challenging part with that is if you're running a business at the moment and you put it on the web, it's going to have to copy. And we keep seeing people with Myob files that are 800 meg, a gigabit of data. Think about how long that's going to take to copy onto the web. We'll have a look at how long it takes to copy down a movie. So that is going to be an interesting challenge, how people are going to copy that to and from the web. But it is, the whole plan is to host it on the web and allow people to swap and change, because then you can copy it up and work on it overnight, or copy it up and let the accountants work on it, or when you're not in the office. So it's a halfway place to being on the cloud. They've also brought out a product called Live Accounts, which is a direct competitor to Xero and Sasu. And the plan there is, let's go head to head. The feedback and looking at it, they're scrambling to catch up. So yes, it looks pretty, and I've got some screenshots for you to have a look at a couple of the different products as we go through. But they are scrambling to catch up because they're actually behind the 8 ball in that whole area. QuickBooks, they've taken a slightly different response. They had brought out an SQL version to make it a bit more stable and a bit faster in their sort of on the sites, but they didn't bring out standard SQL, so it's not Microsoft SQL, so it's actually a different product. But they're marketing it as an SQL, so lots of people in the tech area think it's quite okay. To address the cloud, they've basically started hosting QuickBooks Enterprise. So if you're running QuickBooks, you can get the same product or the bigger product on the cloud. You can just jump in. It's all done via Citrix Terminal Services. And Intuit, the company that actually developed QuickBooks in the US, have got a cloud version, which is really a competitor to Xero and Sasu, but they haven't actually made it Australian yet. So that will be an interesting thing to see when they bring that in, because bringing things into the Australian market's a lot harder than most people think, because much as we talk about our GST and that, it is still quite difficult. Have a look at the BAS. It's not just hard to do, it's just difficult to actually pick up the figures. If I have a bit of a look at the market and just see where is things, there's really, I've sort of in my